He is not available tonight, so they called someone as a backup, also not available. They called two more people, and then here I am. So you got me. This is it. Just going to tell you real quick. My name is David Orias. I have been a high school math teacher for the last 13 years. Pretty exciting. Yeah. And so I had the opportunity to go on 2 trips now, actually, with Dave and his crew to Saudi Arabia. And I wanted to show you some of the things we got to experience over there. And I want to make a quick case of the Exodus story in Saudi Arabia. So 2023 was the first trip, and then I was on the recent trip in 2026 here, just a few months ago. So I know a lot of this information. I have a very educated crowd. I know who I'm talking to. You guys have seen a lot of this, but I promise you there is some stuff that most of you have not seen that we just got to see on this most recent trip, and I'm really excited to show you guys. It's really some new stuff. I'm kind of excited. Yeah. So the beginning, we'll go a little fast, since I know you're on it. You know your stuff. We'll go a little quick, but I want to cover it just in case there's anyone that has not had the chance to experience it. Or is there anyone new tonight? Oh, good. Woo, nobody. It's all right. All right. Let's see. So let's start. By the way, this little QR code down here, I'll show it again at the end. All it does is just go to my YouTube channel where I have links to several of the videos that I've posted. So if you want to view those later, you're welcome to do that. I will be putting new videos up soon. I don't put stuff up a lot, so if you subscribed or whatever, you're not going to get a ton of stuff from me, but hopefully you'll get good stuff. Let's see. So we'll start right off the bat. This is the mindset. The first trip I went on in 2023, I wanted to make sure I had a good mindset going into it, and this is how I wanted to go in, and I wanted to think skeptically, is this really it? Could this be it? I knew what I wanted to see. I definitely knew what I wanted to see, but I needed to be honest with myself. I know there's people that are going to be saying, well, that's just anything. That could have been anything. And so I wanted to have that mindset going into it. Be skeptical about it. I was prepared to document both times. I was able to get a drone in to the country, which was a whole nother night of stories right there. Apparently Jordan and Saudi Arabia aren't big fans of drones. Weird, yeah. Most of that area over there right now, not a big fan of drones. But only by the grace of God and a whole lot of prayer were we able to get that in both times. And so we were able to get some neat footage that I'm happy to share with whoever. Okay, so we went first. By the way, if you're looking for peace in the Middle East, it's right there. Look, right there. How did you not see it? Yeah, it's right there. Here we are on the map. So this is Egypt. This is the Sinai Peninsula. Oh, let's do this. There's Sinai Peninsula. We're going to talk about Nueva Beach, and I believe Dave just recently talked about that, where the crossing would have been here and then into Saudi Arabia, also known as the land of Midian. And that's where the majority of our explorations will take place tonight. So we'll take a look at Nueva Beach. We'll move in. You can see there, this was a large beach, plenty of room for all the peoples. And this is the path where they would have come in. We have a little different view. If we move in, just a different way. They're actually building resorts there now. It's a nice little place. I don't think that's what God intended originally, but it's working now. Then we move further. We have Solomon's marker. So on this marker, this was actually closer to the water, and it was actually getting into the water. So what they did was they moved it out, moved it further back, just so, well, probably for resorts, but also so it would be a little protected. There were engravings on that pillar that you could see, and these were the names listed on there, and it's, Egypt, Solomon, Edom, Death, Pharaoh, Moses, Yahweh. Obviously, a lot of it has been worn away, and we'll talk a lot about that. Everything has aged 3,000 years, so we're kind of going off of what's left, honestly. But what they gave us was really a cast list of the Exodus story, right? This is just roll call for who was in it. Major players. I think Yahweh was probably a little higher up, but I didn't make the billing. We zoom out to our land bridge. So from our land bridge here, Dave mentioned this. I think it's roughly 5 miles wide and 9 miles across, where it is gradually sloped all the way across, and people with carts, I don't think they had wheelchairs, maybe they did, but they could have easily accessed all of that to cross into Saudi Arabia, the land of Midian. There's a couple more pictures. It's not topography, it's bathymetry. I looked that up. It's topography for the bath, for your water. It's in the water. That's all it means. Okay? We move on to where most of our story takes place. This is where the magic happens. This is the land of Midian. And so we will talk about why we think this is the land of Midian. The first part here, they move on down to the caves of Jethro. This is the well of Moses, and this is something even the locals will recognize. This is, they call it the well of Moses, and it's still there, and it's protected. It's all fenced off, not just around the well, but even a considerable area around it is fenced off, and you have to get access to that to hang your camera over the side and get pictures, which I did. Yeah, the stairs are still down there. They go all the way down. I'd love to know how deep it goes. I did not try to fly a drone down there. I thought it wouldn't come back, I'll be honest. Yeah. You know, I don't know. I don't know if there's still water in there or not. I didn't have a long enough rope and bucket. But I would have tried it. The caves of Jethro. So this is little dwellings that were carved into the mountains, and you go in there, and it's pretty incredible and nice and cool from the hot desert sun. And they've got places where you could sleep and stay, but dwellings all along. There is a large one up in there. I didn't get to climb up in there and see that, but there were all kinds of little dwellings here. So back to the bathymetry, the land bridge crossing, and this, I had to really think, okay, there was no clear sign that said, hey, Jethro's house, right? And I don't know if this is Jethro's place, but he certainly could have lived somewhere like this. It would have fit the story. There's nothing here that says this can't be it. Same with the land bridge. You know, I trust the maps, the underwater maps that they have for me. I can see that. I have to trust that. There were markers on Egypt's side and Saudi Arabian side. The one on the Saudi Arabian side had a similar marker, but it was later removed. In the 80s? Don't quote me. 80s. Definitely the 80s. So there's some things I know, and some things I think maybe. I think could. Okay? Let's see. We will start back our trek coming across and follow the people formerly known as slaves, no longer. And we will go to Mara, the bitter waters of Mara. So this is an area where there is water, and it's not drinkable. It is not usable for much anything. It's like Lake Lowell in late August. And you don't want to play in it, and you don't want to drink it, right? Yeah, it is not pretty stuff. So we move from there. I think we had some more. It's a pretty area. This is from 2023. We got to see that. Let's see. Then we will go from there, they went to Elim. Now in Exodus 15:27, it says, then they came to Elim, where there were 12 wells of water and 70 palm trees. So they camped there by the waters. This is a path carved through a mountain That would allow, I think it's 3 miles, roughly 3 miles long. Took him out, and I'll show you a little bit what that looks like. They are quite large and dramatic cliffs. Yes, and we are little people. Roughly 3 miles, yeah. Yeah. Not as colorful. This, you know what? We went the first time in late January and the second time in late February. It's really nice. It is really nice. I think we were lucky to have 60s, 70s for the high. And then the evenings in the desert, they get cool, very cool. So what? Oh, yeah. I don't really know that, if it's year-round or intermittent. I don't know. Yeah. And then I only went this long because you get to see a nice little close-up of Dave and his son. Coming in for a landing. There he is. Yeah, so impatient, waiting for that drone. Hurry it up already. However, coming out, what did it say? It talked about the 12 springs and the 70 palms. And you'll see, like right in there, there's one of the wells. These are still there. They're still operational. They have since built up around them to protect them because the locals still use those wells. There's, I think, at least 2 more in here. There's one in there. I didn't count the palm trees, I'll be honest. If it's anything like my house, that changes every year, the amount of trees. And I think there was another one, yeah, right there. And then a nice large area that opens up further where there's plenty of places to camp where they said they would have stayed there. So, again, there's no sign that says we camped here, but there's no reason that they could not have camped there. Every bit of that fits is possible, right? I know you guys want snacks. I'll be honest, I know you want snacks. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. For those of you that signed up for the Seder dinner with Jerry, Shabbat dinner, thank you. So the Shabbat dinner with Jerry, which is next week. If you did not receive an email tonight, please go see John. We need some of your contact information just so you can make sure you get the emails and updates about that. So if you didn't receive something, please go see him, and we'll get that information from you. Otherwise, meet somebody, greet somebody, have a good time. All right, are you guys ready to get started again? Yes, we are. Thank you. Thank you very much. I love the participation. All right, so now we get to the juicy stuff. First, let's talk about sin. The wilderness of sin. This wilderness of sin, you'll see that we wanted to make this trip as authentic as possible. We wanted to travel like they would have traveled. We did in Land Cruisers. It was rough. Now, look at this, and you think, this is where the saying, ugly as sin, comes from. Because it's really kind of ugly. I'll be honest, it's ugly. It's not pretty country. Yeah, we had SUVs and about 7 flat tires. I'll be honest. Yes. We did. Oh, yes. Only 7. Yeah. Yeah, we had a hard time finding tires after a while, actually. Yeah. All right, so we get to the rock. This is Exodus 17:6. Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock in Horeb, and you shall strike the rock, and water will come out of it, that the people may drink. Now, if you're anything like I was, you grew up with these cute little coloring pages, and you had a very small scale idea of what this rock and trickle would have looked like. And that's just what I imagined. I remember coloring these little things, and it was just a little trickle coming out. And then you realize the scale of this. Who are we watering? How many people and livestock that we need to have water for? Trickle's not going to cut it. And so when I first went in 2023, I had seen a picture like this, and I didn't have anything to go off of. And I looked at it, and I'm like, okay, I bet maybe I'm like halfway tall-ish up here, and I could probably climb the rest. I don't know if that's frowned on, but I could probably climb up there, drop a tape measure, and figure out how tall this thing is, right? Seems very reasonable. Just climb right up until you see it. So, we'll take a look here. We were fortunate. They had drained it just before we got there, unfortunately. They had just taken the water out. Otherwise, we would have seen all this. This is from the help of AI. I know it's hard to tell. But this is AI where we could kind of give an idea of how many people, how much water we would have needed. If you want to talk to Gary Bartlow, the engineer, he knows how much water would have been coming out and how much, and it's a lot of water. 20,000 gallons a minute. A mile diameter lake, thus saith Gary. You can quote him on that. Yeah, and we'll get to see some of that. So, yeah, I'll let you know. There are a couple images here that were used AI. I'll tell you which ones. There's no confusion, and it's pretty obvious which ones. So I'm not doing any tricky black magic here. All right, so we'll take a look at why I couldn't use a tape measure. There's my good friend Gary Barlow right there, reconsidering his choices. Climbing anything. I put my tape away a little embarrassed. This mound that sits on it is probably 100 feet high And the rock itself is probably another 65 feet tall. Again, this video is on YouTube. If you wanted to catch that and watch the whole thing, you are welcome to. There's some pictures of it. I don't know if I want to say this, but there I am inside. Take a look at this. What does that look like? This is not wind erosion. This is a powerful force, most likely water, that eroded this quickly, powerfully. And the rocks around it, you'll see, especially on the backside, the rocks around it, they are worn significantly different than all of the rocks around it. All of the other mountains, all of the other hills, tons of rocks. I spent hours upon hours upon hours making a 3D print of the split rock. And these are the rocks, actually placement and everything, that they are eroded. You can see, especially along the back, where it was washed away, and some along the front. I'll show you another. I have some baby ones if you guys want to pass those around. Take a look at them. I even have a purple one because you got to practice sometime. Yeah, I won't tell you how many months that took. That was a labor of love. This is the part I wasn't sure if I want to tell you, but I'm just going to tell you. We're just going to tell you. Let me read it again. And it says, "Behold, I will stand before you there on the rock." I will stand before you there on the rock. And it could just be a perfect little coincidence, could just be my own desire to see it, but I would swear to you, I see a burnt image into a rock. There's a belt, there's an arm, almost like a robe, like someone turning their back, and the robe flowing down. And it's one of those, once you see it, it's like, oh, I can't not see it. So I can't tell you that that's what that is, but man, to me, that stands out. And I know he stood on the rock before them.
David, in that picture, you were in the rock in the cleft.
Yeah?
You weren't trying to be Samson, were you?
No. You couldn't tell?
What's going on?
Yeah. Let's see. I want to find something else I did. The second trip, I took on a new way to share it. I was able to get the drone in for sure, but I was also able to start making a 3D model of certain things. And so I was able to take this and also help build that to print it out. But if you zoom way in, there I am. Yeah. And so you can move around, and I think the water would have flowed down and collected, a lot would have collected right here in this area to give people a spot to access water, livestock. Oh, like this. There, that would be where water could have collected. And that's my tiny little body. I could not climb that. All right, so moving past Rephidim, the split rock, now we get to the camp. Let's move. to the camp, to Mount Sinai. This is the area of Mount Sinai, the whole enchilada. So this is where the burnt top would be, our plateau, our cave. At the base of the mountain is an altar. On the other side here is another altar we'll take a look at. This is where we camped. And back here is the additional things that we got to see, some of the furnaces and molds. So we'll take a look at that. First, we will take a look at Mount Sinai, the burnt mountain in Exodus 24, 16 to 17. Now the glory of the Lord rested on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And on the seventh day he called to Moses out of the midst of the cloud. The sight of the glory of the Lord was like consuming fire on the top of the mountain in the eyes of the children of Israel. Now this is not the best weather. A lot of that prayer that went into is, Lord, help me to get that drone into the country. And then pray that we can have conditions worth looking at. It's just a tiny little drone, and so too windy out there, it would not have gone well. Too cloudy, not great. But even in horrible weather, it's very clear that top of that is different than the rest. You can see that. So we prayed more, obviously, and I had my team of prayer warriors, my wife and my kids at home doing the same thing, and we prayed that, man, tomorrow we're hiking the mountain. Tomorrow we're climbing. I hope it's good. Well, that night we slept, and the wind came, and the wind came, and the wind blew my tent clear off of me. 3 of us sat up and looked at each other. Where's yours? Where's mine? Yeah. And so we're running in our long underwear down the desert trying to catch our tents because they didn't have bottoms to them. They were just staked over top, and we had carpets inside. Those were kind of nice until the tent blew away. So we got our tents and piled sand up on the sides and tried to get some sleep again. And then but it was worth it because the next day, blue sky. Oh, blue sky. Yep. Yeah. So just to give you a reference, we'll talk in a minute. Here, this little black spot, I know I'm not a great photographer because the mountain's way over here, but I wanted to include this little black spot, which is a cave. And down here is an altar. We'll take a look at that in a minute also. The morning sun. Those mountains, they really are beautiful. We don't get to see mountains like that where it's just bare. I grew up in the Northwest, so mountains are great. They're dramatic. They're covered in trees and green, and I love that. And these are the opposite, and they're beautiful. I mean, they are just bare rock. Pretty impressive looking. That would be our camp, waking up in the morning. We climbed the mountain, and these are what we found. These rocks are burnt. They are affected from the outside in. They are not black rocks. Those rocks are just like the rocks on the rest of the mountain. But these have been touched by something else. This is where the skepticism kind of runs out. Right? This is like, but what else could that be? If it's a hoax, I'm trying to imagine a whole bunch of people with propane torches. I got the worst job. I don't know who I upset, but I don't, and it's more than just the peak here that you'll see. It's huge. You can see it on Google Earth. It's a large area. These rocks, they are burnt from the outside and light on the inside. I was able to get a couple from the gift shop at the top. Don't ask questions. So there are 2 here. If you're welcome to come take a look at these, but you can see that it goes down 1/4 of an inch, black, and then it's fine. No. I don't know who did that, but we're going to have words with them. That's probably not safe. I don't know who did that. Yeah. flipped it over. You flip one over. This is the bottom of it. Not touched. The sides and everything. Yeah, still burnt. Yeah, another one. We had to make sure it wasn't just one rock. So, from the mountain, we'll move down to a flat area. In Exodus 24:9, then Moses went up, also Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. And it talks about an area where the 70 elders and the rest of them would have gathered there so they could witness Moses going up into the mountain. And God wanted them to see that Moses is his chosen spokesman. And so there is a place for them to have been. Yeah. The cave, we move over here to the tiny little black dot. 1 Kings 19:9, this talks about Elijah, when Elijah was running from Jezebel. And there Elijah, went into a cave and spent the night in that place. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, and he said to him, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" And I don't know if he said it exactly like that, but it depends on how you say it. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Maybe he was surprised. What are you doing here, Elijah? I don't think he was surprised. But earlier in the other verses, it talks about this cave on Mount Sinai, in Mount Sinai. So I'm not saying that's the cave, but there's a cave. It's not like there's not a cave, right? I can't rule it out because it's there. I'm not a very good skeptic, but I'm trying. Not after the mountain and the split rock. All right, so here's a closer up version of it. And closer still. That's Pastor Ryan Stoops is standing there at the back of it, so it's not very deep. I think it's like 20 feet deep or so. And then the rest of us were able to just kind of hide out in there. So they look like small rocks. This kind of shows you a little bit of the climb that we had to do. This is from the most recent trip. These rocks don't look that big until you start to see people. This is not a gentle climb. We went from the top of the mountain over to the cave and then down. That was a good 9 hours. It's a 2,000-foot vertical ascent. I think the cave is right in there. And if I'm honest, climbing to the cave, there were several spots where like one good slip, and I'm meeting the Maker today. It's a real all four hands and feet. Yeah. And then you saw the mountain. Moses did this at 80. So, yeah. So, I'm not saying we all need to work out, but we probably do. It was 22 of us on the first trip and about the same on the second trip. Yeah, 24 on the second. Right. Not everyone made the climb. Yeah. So, the altar. We'll talk about the golden calf altar. Exodus, which one is this? 32, 1 through 7. Was not written down. I'm going to fire my secretary. That's me. But my glowing Bible does have it. Exodus 32, 1 through 7. Oh, I know why I didn't write it down. I said it. You'll see. You'll see. It's all coming back to me. I should have written that down.
When the people saw how long it was taking Moses to come back down from the mountain, They gathered around Aaron. "Come on," they said. "Make us some gods who can lead us. We don't know what happened to this fellow Moses, who brought us from the land of Egypt." So Aaron said, "Take the gold rings from the ears of your wives and sons and daughters, and bring them to me." All the people took the gold rings from their ears and brought them to Aaron. Then Aaron took the gold, melted it down, and molded it into the shape of a calf. When the people saw it, they exclaimed, "O Israel, these are the gods who brought you out of the land of Egypt." Aaron saw how excited the people were, so he built an altar in front of the calf. Then he announced, "Tomorrow will be a festival to the Lord." The people got up early the next morning to sacrifice burnt offerings and peace offerings. After this, they celebrated with feasting and drinking, and they indulged in pagan revelry.
Spoiler, this one's AI. I don't want to hide anything from you. I want to be upfront with you. This one's definitely AI. And I tried, and these people are kind of large, I'll be honest. They're too big for that altar. Technically, I don't think the calf was on top of, I think it was in front of the altar. But, it's AI. You can only do so much. What baffled me is just how close and in sight of the mountain that was. This wasn't something they hid. The mountain was on fire. There was smoke and flame on the mountain. And they still thought, nah, he's not here for us. Let's go find another god. Let's find someone else. Which is baffling to me, but who's to say I'm any better? Let's see, I was able to build a 3D model of this, and you can see a lot of the carvings. And stop there. Maybe not on this screen. It is. Yep. We're going to need a computer screen to see these. But there's one right there. Carved in. I know there's one right here. You can probably see better on the TV. I'll zoom in. Yeah, there he is. There's another one right in there. There was one hiding in here somewhere. Where are you? Yeah. And so these are carvings of Hathor, their bull god, straight out of Egypt. They don't have cows over in Saudi Arabia. This is not something they would have seen or had much of. This is something they brought with them over. But yeah, it's a large, I don't know how they stacked those rocks.
Those are 30-ton rocks. A modern crane can't lift a 30-ton boulder. They didn't have anything but their arms and shoulders, and so they cheated. God helped them get that stuff, even though he didn't like what was going on. Look at those boulders.
They are large. Yeah. Yeah, you could see us climbing, which we did not climb on those. Just so we're clear, because it's fenced off. That would be wrong. So we didn't do that. All right. So going from the golden calf altar, we now have the altar of Moses. And this is where we have Exodus 24, 4 through 8. By the way, the skepticism on the last altar, again, kind of hard to come up with another. I mean, it was erected there. I mean, you could see it was done by human hands. That wasn't a natural formation, and there was carvings. This is the altar of Moses, where we have a place to put their cattle, like the cattle chute, and this is where they could have done the burnings. There have been archaeologists come in here and test the dirt in this area, and they can say that yes, there is burnt organic matter. This was used as an altar. The only archaeologists you're going to get in this area, though, are the ones from Saudi Arabia, which are of a different religion, that may or may not want to pursue it too deeply beyond that. We'll say this is what it is, but we're not going to explore much more beyond that. We have... You'll see around there's these different colored rocks, and we'll talk about those here soon. They don't fit. They don't match the others. This was interesting. We met a couple guys on this last trip that were looking in the area as well and kind of investigating the same thing like we were. They came across these two rocks right next to the altar, and this wasn't their first time out there. They had actually brought someone else out there to talk about animal sacrifice, and they mentioned something that, this is how we would have set it up to sacrifice, these large animals, oxen and stuff. You've got a stopping stone where you have them walk up and stop, and then kneel here, and then place their head over here. And this rock is nicely curved where it could be, you could have placed a head, and then you could have cut the throat, collected the blood, which they needed to do, and collected the blood. The rest would have just gone right down here into the riverbed. There's a river, place for running water to do sacrifices. That was all there. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Again, I'm a math teacher. I can't say for sure that's what that was. Could be, though. It seems plausible. This is AI. These are the pillars that they mentioned, and each one would have represented a different tribe of Israel. Yes, and they would have sprinkled that blood on those pillars to ask for forgiveness. For the altar of Moses, I'll just go ahead and read Exodus 24, 4 through 8 real quick. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and he rose early in the morning and built an altar at the foot of the mountain and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Then he sent young men of the children of Israel who offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen to the Lord. And Moses took half the blood and put it in basins, and half the blood he sprinkled on the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read in the hearing of the people, and they said, "All that the Lord has said we will do, and be obedient." And Moses took the blood, sprinkled it on the people, or the pillars, and said, "This is the blood of the covenant which the Lord has made with you according to all these words." And these are the actual pillars that we did see. I don't know what they looked like in their original condition. They could have been larger. They could have been stacked. We do know there's more of them. I think maybe 9 were accounted for. But they're definitely out-of-place rocks. They're not natural to that area. They came from a distance away. All right, we will take a quick view of our camping conditions. It was rough. The skies were gorgeous. I don't know if you could see as well, but it's beautiful out there. And we ate. We had chicken and rice every meal. Cooked in different ways, chicken and rice. It's great. Must be easy. This tent right here is pretty great. They've got 2 big fire pits in there. They burn this really hard charcoal material. Super hot, burns forever, no smoke. I'm like, that's amazing. So we just all gathered in there and loved it. And they made tea on there that had maybe, 4, 8 cups of sugar. I don't know. It was great, though. It was so good. Everyone loved the tea. Yeah, there's our camp. So about 3/4 of a mile behind our camp is where we found some new things. And this is what we were going to go check out. So we were excited because we'd seen a couple YouTube videos, and we thought, well, we got to go find these. We got to see where they're at. So I think maybe 5 of us went out one evening. We'd just come back from maybe the Split Rock, and we had a little time to kill in the evening. We're like, let's go out there. Let's just go start walking and see what we can find. And you would have thought this was like boys' camp looking for treasure, because we were running. We were looking, and like we're trying to pull up maps, and I'm looking at my Google map, and I'm seeing, and it turns out it's not that accurate out there. It doesn't lead me anywhere. Got me in the right country. Other people are pulling up YouTube videos. It's like, well, okay, that's what we're looking for. It's next to this rock. Let's find that rock. Okay. There's rocks. Eventually, we were able to come to it, and we came across this here, and this pile of rocks. And I'm going to show it to you a little better, hopefully. Here's the problem with photographing in the desert. It all looks the same, right? Really looks the same. There's a big furnace. There's a small furnace out there. There's some molds in there and some more over there. But how would you know? So we're going to take a little closer look here. Let's see. I want to do... the first furnace. This is the large one here. You can see it's been collapsed. It would have been covered over the top. And this particular 3D model, I have other pictures, but it shows these rocks, these same types of rocks, scattered right here across. And it doesn't fit the rest of the terrain. These were gathered and placed here. These have just been pushed over and knocked down. The other one, this was kind of in the evening, so the lighting wasn't as great, but similar. There was another furnace here, a little bit smaller. We found 3 or 4 other furnaces stacked up nearby. They were in worse shape than these, but they were like sharing walls. They were stacked all together. We have the molds. So not far from there, you can see these molds where you could have poured gold or anything, gold most likely, and formed whatever it is. For my thought was Ark of the Covenant, but it could have been for anything. You could have made rings out of these. There was one that over here to the side would have looked like a hook almost. And it's close by. It has to be close by. Because you pull smelted gold out, you don't have long before it hardens. You got to get it poured quickly. Then we'll work our way over to this side. Now, this is AI. Our conception of the Ark of the Tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant, is a lot from Indiana Jones. We see that, right? And I don't think it's a great picture, if I'm honest. It says there's cherubim. Cherubim have 4 wings each, and these have 2. And it's supposed to be the mercy seat. And if I'm honest, that doesn't look, I don't know how you sit there. It's the mercy seat of God. And it says the angels' wings come up over and overshadow them and the ark. And so this to me does not fit the mold, so to say. So I went to my friends at AI, and I said, here's the description in the Bible. Here's kind of how I want you to do it. And it takes AI a while to think about these, and you just sit there and wait because you know it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So I started with Claude. Claude's going to do it. He can come up with something. And it thought, and it thought, and it thought, and this is what it came up with. Waited a long time for that thing. That's great. That's, yeah. If I was building a box to the firefighter god, I guess that would work. But dragonfly, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, Claude. So I needed to consult someone else. So I think I went to Gemini next. Yes, and Gemini did a better job. Gemini loves wings. And got a little crazy with the wings, if I'm honest. There are wings coming out of everywhere. And the first time it came up, it had like one or two less wings, and I told it, okay, it only needs 4 wings, just 4 each. And it came back with more wings. And I was like, let's just stop here. You're good. But it gave me I liked the idea of the wings coming up over top, just like it describes in the Bible. So, not satisfied, I had to check with ChatGPT. And that was I was like, let's just stop here. That's the closest I'm going to get with this, right? And this is a fair representation. But if you think about it, these wings, each one, I've got a left wing and a right wing for both angels, and another left wing and right wing for both angels. And I don't know exactly how they were formed, if one came out over top and one was more of a backrest, or it was over top and an armrest, or I don't know. But I know they were not all the same. They weren't carbon copies. And so I wanted to find multiple representations, if possible. So we went, I'll tell you real quick. The next day, we were scheduled to climb Mount Sinai. As soon as we got on the plane to start the trip this year, I caught a cold. Just right off the bat. Thank you. Perfect timing. Which was probably a good thing. I think the Lord was keeping me honest because I did ask for sick days at work. I think the Lord's like, well, if you ask for it, you will have this. Okay, I understand. So I thought, well, I'm going to get a lot of rest on the plane. I'm going to kick this thing and move on. I did not. It came back and got me over and over again. And as you saw, that climb is not an easy climb. And I was not feeling my best, and I did not climb that day. So me and maybe 3 other guys, we stayed back. We did not climb the mountain. Everyone else did. All the other kids played. But we stayed back at the tent, which I think was a good thing, because then I had the whole day to myself to walk out there and just spend some time out there. Not knowing what I'm looking for, but not knowing what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? I'm looking for something, but I don't know what yet. So I got to spend the whole day. I spent the whole day out there sniffling. And this is what we saw the first evening. Take a look right there. Some striations. On this side, we really didn't see anything. This is the first evening we were out there, and there was nothing there. It was kind of disappointing. But this one, we thought, you know what? Those aren't really natural, the way they curve in like that and go horizontal, those striations. That didn't seem like a natural formation. We didn't see that on any rocks nearby. But it's possible that curve right there would have been a wing. And what they would have done is taken a plate, made a plate of gold, got it warm, brought it over here, and hammered it to fit the shape, to mock it. Keep in mind, these have been sitting out for 3,000 years. We expect them to be a little eroded, right? They're not in pristine condition. Again, the other side, we thought there should be something there, and there wasn't. But someone doing YouTube research, someone else had found this, and so if I took my flashlight, shined it on there, poured a little water on there, and lo and behold, hey, you know what? We could see some additional striations, right? And that looked also almost like the feathers, wings. I don't know if it went up and over or around. It's too worn. I couldn't tell you. But that did not look, that looked like a man made something. So then back to the next day when I'm all by myself sniffling in the wilderness. Keep that in mind. We took a look. I took a look again, and this is in the morning, and this was key because the light was totally different. Totally different. What I saw on that other side, where there was nothing before, looked a lot like a wing. You'll see major striations here, and this curvature up and over. That one seemed more convincing to me than even the others. What's that? What size? It was probably about this big, 2 feet, a little more. Yeah, and keep in mind the ark is 4 feet. So, yeah, if you had 2 feet here, 2 feet here. Fits really well. This is the picture. It just curves up and over and down. There is something going on here. Oops. And up and around. This is that other side that we looked at previously with the flashlight. You can see the ridges a little better still. But if they were still 3,000 years newer, I bet they would have been even more prominent. What's that? A little wind blown. Not a whole lot of rain, but definitely some wind and weather. Yep. Again, very near that furnace.
Here's one of the
You
big
can see the
furnaces.
proximity.
And right by it is a mold, I believe. What I think would be a wing, possibly. On this side.
They would have been able to collect wood, brush, that kind of stuff out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I find it humbling to think the Ark of the Covenant, which has not been seen in many moons, this is the closest we have come to being able to see what it really would have looked like. There are actual wings out there somewhere that were beaten on these rocks and formed here by God's own people. And that to me is humbling, just to know that we've been able to see it and experience that. So we come back out to the furnace, or to the whole camp. Back here all the way. And just to recap, what things did we really cover? Being a skeptic, when you have a story that hits all these pieces and more. We didn't even get to talk about the cemetery. There's a cemetery 4 miles north of that camp. The Saudi Arabian archaeologists went in there, and they'll tell you this cemetery predates Islam. It's not a Muslim gravesite. We're not going to go much farther with that, understandably. But there are rocks and pillars set up like headstones out there 4 miles north of that camp. You've got bitter springs land bridge, palms and wells, rock, golden calf altars, Moses' altar, a big burnt mountain that says hello, furnaces and molds. It's too many boxes. Checks too many boxes. And as you can't play the skeptic too much longer. At some point, you have to say, I would convict. If this was a court of law, I'm out of excuses to make. So, why is it important that we look at this? I really think in a time of AI and the war on truth, when things are so easily faked, hopefully mine weren't that obvious. When things are so easily faked for entertainment purposes or even malicious purposes, I think it's important that we document everything we can and say, you know what? God didn't show up and then hide his tracks. He showed up. He was here. He made a covenant with his people. He made vows, and he holds true to them, and they're still there. We just need to see them. So I'll tell you right now, I attest to you, I have seen these things with my own eyes, and hopefully you've seen digital representations with yours. These things are real. They are tangible. This happened. There's no way to beat around that bush. I believe there's a time when God Almighty stepped into our world and met his people to make a covenant like the exchange of vows. This was it. This was the place. For those of you that don't need to see this and you still believe it anyways, blessed are you. For those of you that still appreciate seeing it, I hope it strengthens your faith. I hope it gives you confidence. Take comfort knowing that your Creator, there is a very real God, because that's a very real burnt mountain where he stepped down. Matthew 7:7-8 says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find it. Knock and the door will be open to you. It was there all along. We just had to seek it. So as for the rest of you, I hope it at least gives you something to ponder. Why does this 3,000-year-old story have so much circumstantial evidence for you doubters out there? You've got some real questions to ask. And I just pray you seek, and you will find it. Yes? Getting home? The miracles that we saw getting home. Now, we split up into different groups. And because at some point we realized, we're walking into Petra, all flights were canceled. Like, well, we're in Petra anyway, so we're going to keep going. And so we enjoyed that. And then we waited around at the hotel for all evening, waiting to hear. And then the next day, the story's not going to be as great as you think. The next day, we're still waiting. And at some point, we decided, you know what, they're not going to be able to come up with something for us. And so then it became like the Hunger Games of cell phones. And we're out there like scrolling, like who's going to find the plane first? And I was one of the first three. They're like, dibs, and we got it. While we're all sitting there, I got it. This guy didn't. Like it was, the website shut down or something. So three of us got off the first right off the bat. And then it was a fight in the airport, getting through all of that, getting through Istanbul. We were there a little longer than we expected. But we were fortunate, three of us. And then the rest, yes, they had even more miracles, God working for them, trying to get out. Yeah. Dave does a better job telling that story because he was there. The miracle was I wasn't. That was great. Going into Saudi Arabia? We landed in Jordan, in Aqaba, and then transferred right across the border into Saudi Arabia, spent our trip there, and then went back through, hit Petra a little bit, and then flew home. lots of miles. No. We drove across, spent because it was late at night, spent the night, and then the next day we drove down to where we were going to spend our time. Yeah. It was a good 7-day trip. At the site, camping at Mount Sinai, 3 days, which was great. Yeah, we got to really spend some time there. It's nice. Yeah, and I'd go back in a heartbeat. I really would. There's always something else to find. There is. No, they are opening up more and more to tourism, but it's still slow, especially now with the air show breaking out, also known as a war. So things are kind of slow right now. Yeah. Well, I mean, the having a closed kingdom has preserved that area for so long. It's been great. Well, I hope this has been a blessing to you. I hope it's something. Hope it's something you feel confident sharing with others about, and it gives you that more affirmation. Oh yeah, the QR code. If you want to get some of those videos, you're welcome to that. And again, if you subscribe, it'll let you know when I put up a new video. There's some I need to redo and a couple I want to add still. Any other questions? Don't worry, Dave will be back next week. Yes, sir.